Hi friends, Drecky here, and today we're looking at another disc golf driver. This time it's the Innova Dragon. This driver only comes in lightweights and one type of plastic, but this is not your standard Innova DX plastic, no. This is a special blend that floats in water. And float it does. I know this because I've chucked it into the middle of the lake before and had to go swimming for it. Fun story. Anyways, about this disc, again, it's not that standard DX plastic. This floating version of DX has a little bit more of a tacky feel to it, although it is the same level of stiffness and pretty close to the same level of durability. The disc mold itself is fairly standard for an Innova fairway driver, with a slight dome to the profile and a rim that is comfortable for either forehand or backhand shots. All jokes aside, I actually do like this floating DX plastic a little bit better than Innova's other DX discs. The added grippiness makes it feel a little bit higher quality than other DX plastic discs. As well, that grippiness makes it easier to throw when wet, which is after all what this disc does best. Or does it? Well, now we get into the more complicated part, what it's like to throw. With flight numbers like 8, 5, -2, and 2, this is an understable to stable finish disc. And I think the turn and fade are fairly accurate, as low power throwers can get a really nice S-curve out of this disc fairly easily. The problem is that this disc is really geared towards low power throwers. Maybe it's the lower weight or it's the different plastic, but this disc does not hold up to a high power throw. Any throw with more power to go more than, let's say, 250 feet will require utter perfection to get performance out of this disc. It emphasizes any slight imperfections, so if you have your disc on an angle on release, that high power will just turn it over onto its side and it won't really go anywhere. And it's not even that great for rollers because it requires a precise amount of power to get it to roll, otherwise it's just gonna flop onto its side.
Alright, so now we're out in a field and I have for you today two discs, the Innova Dragon and the Streamline Lift. These two discs are pretty similar flight numbers, with the Innova Dragon just being a little bit slower. Otherwise they're close enough that I think they'll make a good comparison. And in one shot I can show you why I like throwing the Streamline Lift, but I do not like throwing the Innova Dragon. So let's do that now. So yeah, that result is pretty consistent with every single shot I make with the Innova Dragon. Anytime I try and put any sort of power on it, it just kind of goes like and then falls into the ground. Even if I'm forehanding, backhanding, well, I'll show you a couple of those next, but yeah, there's a reason why I don't bag it. You've just seen. So you asked how's about a forehand shot? Okay, let's compare. The end reality is that this disc is consistent, and this disc, I have no idea what's going to happen, so let's watch. Yeah, that was straight. It flopped in. Now, same thing. And somehow that turned into a roller that went farther than my shot with the Streamline. This.
When I first started playing and was throwing consistently maybe 100 to 150 feet, this disc was perfect. It was one of the first discs I could get nice S-curves and far glide out of. But once I started putting more power into things, started getting anhyzer and hyzer angles, this disc just became a burden to throw. And let's just say there's a reason I don't see many intermediate or advanced players bagging this. Now, that being said, we have 3 of them in my household at various levels of age, just because every single one of us wanted a floating disc. One of our courses that we play is consistently flooded over winter, but regardless of that deep water, that specific purpose that this disc is built for, I'm almost never throwing it. The reason being, every other disc I own I get far higher consistency out of. And that right there is the crux of this review. Every other disc I own is far more consistent when I'm throwing it. If I need a left turn or a right turn, I know what to do with them. Whereas this one, I chuck it, and half the time it does something completely different. And that's where having a floating disc kind of misplaces confidence, because the reality is, if this disc is 20 or 30 feet out in the water and all you have is a 10 or 15 foot stick, it's still 20-30 feet out in the water. The good thing is you can see where in the water it is, but the bad thing is that you're still gonna have to get wet. So in reality, I would far and above rather throw a disc that I trust, a disc that is consistent, a disc that can take the power of my throws, and I am a fairly intermediate level player, throwing about 250 to 300 feet. For someone who can throw between 100 and 200 feet, this disc is perfect for your power level. Lovely S-curves are possible and performance is consistent as long as technique is on point. But for anyone else, anyone who's throwing over 200 to 250 feet, yeah, just stick with the disc you know and hope you don't throw it in the water. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this was an informative review. Do you throw the DX Dragon? Let me know in the comments below what you think of this disc. And don't forget to join me next time on the course by subscribing to the channel. So this is normally the point when I take the disc out onto the course and play around with it, but I don't bag this disc. There's a good reason for it.
Innova Dragon. Okay, that's having fun. Streamline lifts. That's more what I was trying to do, that nice, straight, flat shot. Not like you're pretty